Away from court stories now, the federal government has repatriated 190 Nigerians from the United Arab Emirates. This development was made known in a statement by the National Emergency Management Agency. The statement signed by its Director General, North Central Zone, Bashir Garga. The returnees were received at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, at 5:57 a.m. by a combined team of government officials led by NEMA. The statement also mentioned that the returnees have been profiled and documented by the relevant agencies and sensitized to behave with decorum and responsibility on their return to Nigeria. For more updates, the Zonal Director, National Emergency Management Agency, North Central, Bashir Garga, joins me on the news. He joins me from our Abuja studio. Good to have you join us.
Thank you.
So Nigerians are noting how this particular return of these Nigerians from the UAE coincides with the lift of the visa ban on Nigerians by the UAE. Is there a connection between the lifting of the ban and the return of these Nigerians?
Well, this is outside the mandate of my agency. However, the two cannot be linked whatsoever. Processes have been on course to get these Nigerians repatriated back home, and it could just be a coincidence. And if you look at it, they are deported or repatriated on account of some consular issues. So, granting visas, allowing Nigerians to access visas to the UAE is still within consular issues.
So, this is perhaps maybe the first time or one of the few times where NEMA would, receive, returnees from countries without the media coverage. We understand that the media was not allowed to cover this particular arrival of returnees. Why is that? And what was the particular, because you've talked about consular reasons. Can you give us some of these reasons specifically for their return?
And like I have said earlier on, it falls outside the mandate of my agency, and I think this can better be gotten from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs or the Embassy of the UAE here in Nigeria. And on the issue of stopping journalists from covering this, I don't think that is true, because the exercise started at exactly 5:57, and they were moved from the Hajj terminal to the Hajj camp. This is to accord them dignity by way of camp coordination and camp management. Maybe the journalists were late in coming, perhaps.
So I understand that you have said that this is outside of your scope, but NEMA would not work without any information. You must have information, as to why they were deported. You have said consular. We just want something particularly specific. I mean, over 190 Nigerians being deported, you are receiving them. There must be something that you know.
I cannot be pinned down into talking outside the mandate of my agency. However, the receiving state is always at liberty to deport aliens from their own states based on their existing municipal laws, and if the continued stay of these aliens in their country is constituted nuisance. I'm not saying that is the case in this respect. However, this has always been reasons why deportations take place.
All right, so let's move on to other issues. I mean, you also cover other areas. For example, building collapse and flooding. And we've seen two building collapse in the course of last week alone. The school in Plateau State, which the Director General, Zubaida Umaru, visited. And then we saw the one in Abuja as well. She didn't mention that there was going to be something done to ensure that, developers comply. What is NEMA doing to mitigate this kind of cases and then also respond on time?
You see, as an agency under the realm of disaster risk reduction, we are working in tandem with the state governments, with other organizations that have a stake in building. to make sure certain things are put in place. If you look at most of the reasons responsible for building collapses have to do with some structural defect. Some of them come from natural causes, like this time around that it's raining heavily, and some of them occur due to people circumventing processes and cutting corners, using of substandard materials, or proper researches are not conducted, like a kind of geotechnical survey of the subsoil is required when you are building edifices of this height that in most cases collapse these days with fatal consequences.
And let's talk about the flooding. There has been a warning for flooding for 31 states. But in April, again, the Director General did say that much will be done to mitigate the impact of the flooding. I'm not sure that that's the case, because a lot of Nigerians have been affected by this flood. What extra and what more is NEMA doing?
Well, NEMA has advocated for these 36 states of the Federation that have been penciled out to experience moderate flooding following the flood outlook from NISA, which is the agency responsible for this focus. And it has equally identified 30 states where there will be high risk of flooding. And the Director General herself deployed very senior officers who go around this country to sensitize and made advocacies with the state governments to put measures in place to manage residual risk and avert new risk that can be occasioned by this flooding. So we've done a lot.
We hope that the state governors are listening to you as well. Thank you so much for your time. The director, sorry, the zonal coordinator, zonal director rather, National Emergency Management Agency, North Central Zone, Bashir Garga.
Thank you for having me.